Most of us who use R are really interested in the use of R for profiling and understanding our data. So there's a lot of very there is an extensive library of built-in functions that allow us to do various kinds of analysis. So, for example, let's pull up a little example here. So, for example, what we can do here is I can pull up a various kinds of probability distributions. So in this particular case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a probability distribution. So let's take a look at Y. So what I've done is I've created a normal distribution that's been normalized for Y. So I'm sorry, that's been normalized, and I stored that in Y. But I can do a number of things with that. For example, I can look at the mean of Y, and I can look at the standard deviation of Y, again, without any particular let me just look at some medians. So I can perform various kinds of normal results on it, or normal in the sense of the kinds of things that I would do. But I can also pull up things like summary statistics of that distribution. So in a few lines of code, I'm able to generate a normal distribution and pull up some statistics. So that's just to demonstrate that we've got these lovely, very powerful built-in functions that allow us to do various kinds of statistical profiling very quickly. But that's not exactly where the power of R comes in, because you want to combine that then with the ability to, right here, hold on here, I think, there we go. You want to be able to combine that with your ability to do various kinds of plotting. So this plot function built right into core language allows you to take various kinds of statistical results and plot them so that they're quite visual. This is the important part of data visualization, being able to actually visualize what's going on in your data. So there's just a quick example there. You can perform various other kinds of plotting. For example, we're just going to plot a standard sine wave here. And so one of the important parts about any kind of working with data is being able to understand your data, like I said, visualization. So where R has a particularly powerful appeal is that the statistical manipulation is just a core part of the language, as is the plotting of the statistical results. There are some other things that we can do. The demos here. There we go. So R also comes with a large number of demos to illustrate. I'm going to just use a couple of these to show how powerful, in fact, this particular approach is. And I want to make sure I've got, there we go. We're on that page. So I'm going to expand this up a little bit, and I'm going to do the demo for example image, to show you this kind of images that are capable of being developed for visualization. It always depends on my being able to spell correctly too. Image, not images, there we go. And if we look over here at the, oops, sorry, I just want to move this thing over here. All right. Okay, let's try this again here. There we go. Okay, so now if I look at the various kinds of images we can get, there are some various kinds of heat maps. If you notice down in the corner there, there are various parameters we can tune with all of our image to get various kinds of things which allow us to visualize. These are all topographical, for example, and also showing various kinds of heat maps, which are always particularly useful. Another example here is, we'll take a look at plot math. And again, to be able to demonstrate that we also have a lot of lovely rendering sorts of things that we can do, which makes things very, very nice in terms of being able to present results. So, for example, we also have the ability to document and express using the built-in LaTeX features that we have in R. And finally, just a last little demo here. Again, a variety of different kinds of plotting mechanisms are also available. Pie charts, various kinds of box plots, graphs, various kinds of visual representations of data. So there are there is a wide range of capabilities, scatter plots. All of these sorts of things are part of the R language, so it's very easy to get into a quick data analysis in R. Okay, so the idea behind R again is to try to make the use of R. Oh, by the way, a couple of things we'll notice about RStudio is that in RStudio here, I've got a number of different the ability to go and look back in my environment. For example, here's my X that I created before. I have a number of different things. I've got check as the function I created. If I double click on that, it'll actually take me to my function. So there's a number of what we might call convenience features for people who are working in this environment. So the RStudio as a desktop provides a lovely, highly user-friendly interface into being able to build our programs and analysis. For example, I go back and look at POW. I can see all of the various kinds of things that I'm currently working on in my environment. So now the final thing I wanted to just talk about in terms of the actual R interface itself is this notion of a data frame. And to do this, I'm going to just take this data frame I've got here. Now, what I've done is I have gone down to the, let me pull this up here. I've gone to the a source for data, and I've been able to pull down this data source, which is income for White House employees and their title for 2010. So this is in a CSV file format. What R allows me to do is to very quickly bring that data into okay. All right, so I'm probably not in the right directory there. Hold on. There we go. I should be in there. All right. Well, anyway, I kind of messed someone up here. Anyway, what I can do is I can pull this data in very quickly into a data frame. And what this data frame allows me to do is to go and go and work with it in a tabular format, which has got rows and columns. Now I can look at some other data frames here as well. Oops. R comes with a number of data sets. So for example, the data set iris is a data frame containing the some information about various statistics about the various kinds of irises that are out there. And this is the kind of data set that's supplied. There's a whole bunch of them which are supplied, and I think there's things like U.S. auto accidents, voting, a number of different data sets that are supplied by R that you can download and experiment with. So this is an example of a data frame. Down here on the left, I've got the row entry, the number of rows across the top. I've got the columns, and I can do various kinds of analysis on my data frame. I can do, for example, a summary analysis, and it works on various rows and various columns. So again, what data frames do is allow for a very, very efficient importing of data from CSV and other kinds of environments that allow me to be able to manipulate and use the capabilities very, very quickly.